My grandfather was a man who could fix anything. A toaster from 1972, a watch that hadn't ticked since the Berlin Wall fell, a heart broken by a high school crush. He had this shed out back. It smelled like oil, sawdust, and patience. I was 17 and I was not careful. I had borrowed his prized 1964 Zenith radio. Not to listen to a ball game, but to take it apart. I wanted to see how the glowing green tubes worked, and in the process, I cracked the glass face and snapped the volume knob clean off. I didn't just break a radio, I broke trust. I walked into that shed holding the pieces in a shoebox like I was carrying a dead bird. I was ready for the storm. The "how could you be so careless" speech. The "that's it, you're not mature enough for my things" speech. I slid the box across the bench. He looked inside. He didn't say anything for a long, terrible moment. He just took a slow breath and picked up the bent volume knob shaft. Then he said something I've carried with me for 30 years. "Let's fix the mistake, not the person." He didn't say, "You were stupid." He said, "The shaft is bent. How do we straighten metal without snapping it?" He didn't say, "Well, why didn't you ask first?" He said, "The glass is in 3 big pieces. That means we can glue it without having to cut a whole new circle." It was the first time in my life an adult separated my action from my identity. We spent 4 hours in that shed. He taught me how solder flows like water if you let it. He taught me that super glue bonds skin to wood faster than it bonds glass to glass, which I learned the hard way. And he taught me that the radio wasn't ruined, it was just interrupted. When it finally crackled to life and the voice of a late-night jazz DJ filled the shed, I expected a lecture. Instead, he turned the dial slowly, finding a clear station, and said, "Daddy, sounds better now, doesn't it? Has a story to tell." Flash forward 25 years. I'm the one with the workshop now, though mine is more of a corner in the garage with a 3D printer and too many tangled extension cords. And I have a son, Leo. Leo knocked my laptop off the counter this morning. Screen went black. Work presentation. Gone. I felt it. That hot flash of anger rising in my throat. The words, "What is wrong with you?" were right there on the edge of my tongue. And Leo just stood there, waiting to be the person who broke Dad's work. I swallowed the fire. I remembered the smell of oil and sawdust. I said, "Leo, the screen is broken. How do we fix broken glass?" He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. He expected yelling. He got a broom. "No," I said. "In this case, we call the warranty guy because Daddy is bad at fixing computers. But first, we fix the mess." We swept the floor. He told me about how he was running because the dog was chasing a fly. It was a good story, better than a spreadsheet anyway. And I realized that the greatest gift my grandfather gave me wasn't how to use a soldering iron. It was the ability to pause and ask, am I trying to fix the problem, or am I trying to punish the person? When you label the person instead of the action, you are clumsy, you are careless, you are forgetful. You weld the mistake to their soul. They can't scrub it off. But when you say that the glass is broken, that's just a fact. And facts can be changed. Glass can be replaced. Trust can be rebuilt. The radio, with the glued face and the slightly crooked knob, still sits on my desk. It crackles sometimes. It's not perfect. But it plays the clearest music I've ever heard, because every time I look at that crack in the glass, I don't see a broken radio, I see a boy who wasn't broken. Thanks for listening. Be kind to the people in your life who are holding shoeboxes full of broken things. They just need to know they're not one of them.